Guys that were extremely shy and were afraid to talk to girls. How did you end up with your girlfriend? Was never afraid of talking to girls like friends, but was afraid of asking girls out. We've been roommates for a few months. Somehow she had a crush on me for some time, but I didn't know. One evening we were watching Charlie the Unicorn and she put her head on my shoulder. So I basically did nothing but she did. Funny thing to add, until the point when she put her head on my shoulder, I thought she was a lesbian. Practice. I just practiced talking to girls that I wasn't interested in. Not flirting or leading them on, just conversation. Being social. Learning to listen and ask engaging questions. That's what will really get you relating to someone you do like. Pickup lines, tricks, flashy romance. That's impressive for a minute. If you want long-term interest, you've got to learn to just share and listen. Also, just talking to random strangers, no matter their gender, age, etc. This builds confidence and social skills that will be natural once you talk to girls you're interested in and treat them like anyone else you talk to. Speaking for my boyfriend, he's 24, incredibly quiet, shy, and never had a girlfriend or kiss before me. I met him at work and he always had a RBF on. Because I was the new girl, I talked to everybody and was introduced to him through a guy I was cool with who was also in his department side friend. He kept it minimal with a hi and bye. Seemed like he couldn't spare a care for anyone. Then, maybe 2 weeks later, he came up to the register next to me and said, "I heard you like memes." And we kicked it off. 2 weeks later, like he invited me to go cliff jumping with some other guys from work, who I later learned had encouraged him to ask me. And we spent the day together laughing and learning about each other. He asked me if I wanted to go to his house for the 4th of July, and we ended up in his room, listening to music and talking. He played some songs on his guitar he knew I liked, and that's when I realized he must like me to some extent. I went from perched on his bed to lying down on his bed, listening to him play, and he ended up lying down next to me. We faced each other lying down and continued talking until things just got sort of quiet. Our lips were so close, they were about to touch, and I knew after a while that he was overthinking and wasn't going to make the first move, so I kissed him. We missed the fireworks outside, but had our own in the end. We ended up cuddling, and he asked me if this made us boyfriend-girlfriend. I told him to ask me tomorrow, and he did. We're polar opposites, with me being an abrasive loudmouth, but I think that's what keeps us balanced out. I also learned later on that he avoided me at work because a coworker of ours had already claimed dibs on me and my BF felt he stood no chance. I finished a 1-year programming diploma and was struggling to get work. Ran into a female friend from high school, told her about my predicament, and then she invited me to move in with her and her new roommate 2 hours away. What self-respecting, shy 20-year-old guy wouldn't move in with two girls? So I moved in and almost instantly fell in love with the other girl. We've been together for 11 years now. I joke with her that the only reason we are together is that I just moved into her life and just never moved out. TLDR, got really, really fucking lucky. Online dating allows you to get to know someone a little bit. Usually you can tell if they share some interest in you before a date. That breaks the pressure and anxiety up a lot. This, though the platform I chose was a bit iffy, Tinder can break your heart fast if you get ignored a lot, even if you match. The other thing about online dating is that it is not initially face-to-face. It's easy to be confident when you're sending a text to a stranger. Then, by the time the first date happens, you know that this person is interested enough in you to want to go on a date with you. Infinitely better than approaching a stranger you know nothing about emo. I used every online dating platform imaginable for about a year, didn't act like a creep, used good pictures, was honest about my life. Got absolutely nothing. Well, besides someone who wanted me to buy them a game on Steam? Fuck that person. I also live in the middle of nowhere, so that probably didn't help. Gotta vouch for online dating, at least a little bit. Met my ex on Tinder. I'm a pretty outgoing person, but was always too nervous to talk to attractive guys, so one night I decided to make a profile just to see if I could finally start trying to casually date. We went on our first date, and it was the most awkward, charming thing I've ever done. We were both nervous messes, but one date turned to another, and even though we eventually broke up, I don't regret a thing. And it was a great learning experience. How would you react if a girl said she was scared of you? I get that all the time, honestly. I am a very tall man and I don't smile much. Either way, it hurts the feelings. I am short, almost never smiling, having the long stare. I understand, bro. I've gotten the "you are intimidatingly tall" line before from coworkers. I'm 5'11". If I'm intimidatingly tall, then their life must be a cavalcade of terror when in populated spaces. This is a very good question. A girl with whom I share a very significant relationship once confided in me that I scare her, which confused the hell out of me because at least I believe that I am a genuinely very friendly person, and if I ever do get agitated or frustrated, I focus it towards Jim instead of people. We never discussed it again, though when I asked her why she wasn't able to give me a definitive answer, but since she hasn't said otherwise, I have no reason to believe it had changed. Any genuine advice would be helpful. One of my suspicions is that I have an intimidating renting batch fave, but what can I even do about that? I'm not sure why, but it scares me when men yell. Even if it is not directed towards me, I get anxiety. What if that yelling is at me one day? Is typically the fear. When it is at me, I start crying. It scares me and it hurts, emotionally. I grew up with a father who rarely yelled. If you were yelled at by dad, you really screwed up. Mom, on the other hand, yelled at us over everything. I hope this helps. I've had this happen once. I went on a second date with a woman. The first date was really chill in a local pub. The second date, we went into London for a night out. We were crossing the road, and the first car at the lights was rolling slowly forward at myself, my date, and everyone else crossing the road. I was right in front of the car, so this did cause some concern. So I looked at the driver, and he was looking down and texting. So I slapped the bonnet to get his attention. He didn't take too kindly to this. As we walked off, he shouted out the car, so I shouted back. My tone was very aggressive. I should have just ignored him in hindsight. We continued with the date, and to my knowledge, it was a great date. We parted ways after at the train station, and I had a good feeling. She texted me later that night that my aggression towards that driver scared her. I didn't show any aggression or anger to her. I explained immediately what happened afterwards in a calm tone. I was gutted, but I can absolutely understand how that will freak someone out the second time you meet them. No one was hit by a car while crossing that road, though. That depends on our relationship, but if we have no reason to associate with me, she can just leave. I'm not going to do anything. But I'm also not going to modify my behavior for the sake of someone else, when their fear probably isn't rational to begin with. I would say, I'm not a threat to you. There must be a misunderstanding. And then leave said girl alone entirely. Walk away, forget about her. Don't call or text, don't look at her or make eye contact. Don't talk about her to other people. If it's someone I know, I'll ask them why, so I know what it is I do that upsets them. If what she says is understandable and not a big deal to stop doing, I'll stop doing that. If it is a big deal or I just don't get it, I'll ask about it more to try and get a better understanding of things. If it's not something I can change, I'll just tell her that and let her figure out how to deal with being afraid of me for something I can't do anything about. If it's someone I don't know, I'll politely tell them I was literally not aware that they existed before this conversation, and probably won't remember they exist at the end of the day, and don't really have any intention of having anything to do with them, so they have nothing to worry about from me. When I was 17, two people who I thought were my closest friends told me that aside from not being attracted to me, The reason they wouldn't date me was because they thought I'd be the type of person to physically or sexually abuse my girlfriend. It fucking hurt. I tried to tell them that because I've been abused that I would never inflict that on someone else, but they wouldn't listen. My friendship with one girl fell apart within a week, and although myself and the other girl managed to talk things out, she apologized for saying the things she did and confessed that she was really just pissed and didn't mean it. We drifted apart after I graduated. So, in a nutshell, it hurts. A lot. Especially when it's someone you trust.